Welcome to Banking on Burlesque, the propelling point of change, with me, Lana Montreese, burlesque and drag movement instructor and coach. During this show, you will discover healing from trauma in a way you never thought possible and become empowered in all areas of your life. Do you feel stuck in a system that seems broken? Are you longing to have meaning in your life? If you answered yes and are ready to change yourself and the world, then you are being called to give Banking on Burlesque a listen. I discovered that healing starts within and would love to help you navigate into a world of sparkle, wonder, and a lifetime of magical change. Banking on Burlesque starts now. Hello, welcome to Banking on Burlesque, and thank you for waiting for me. I know we had a little bit of a replay last month, which was supposed to be our last episode, but today is our last episode. So you got one extra watch of an old, or not an old, but a previous episode. And now we get to go into some of the, it's kind of, I'm kind of relating the end of this to like the end of a show, basically the end of a show is always really great because it's always, there's really great performance in shows, just like this episode is, going to be really great and fun and you're going to love it, or maybe you won't, who knows. So, but it's always a little bit bittersweet when it ends. It's, you have to go home and go back to real life. And, even as a performer, it's like, oh, we do curtain call and go out and, say our last goodbye. You kind of get a recap of the cast and you get to see all of the performers who were on stage and who got to entertain you. So today we're going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to recap a little bit of what we've talked about already, but just put some emphasis on a few things, and then also let you know where about we are going to go next, kind of. I'm still going to let you guess just a little bit because there are places and things in place where you can go to get more information on some of the things that I'm going to be mentioning today. So, well, where to start, because I have this lovely template that I made. We've talked about this before. This lovely template that I made about last month and didn't use it last month, so we're using it this month. Some of it still pertains, some of it doesn't, so we're going to be ad-libbing a little bit here and also going off of what I have structured because I do like structure. Interesting conversations around structure. I'm an email person, so if just to kind of recap that, actually, if any of this resonates with you and you're moved by what I have going on, what burlesque has brought to my life, and you would like some information, some coaching, some virtual one-on-one sessions, I do have things available for you, services, so to say, available on my website, lanamontreese.com. Can find more information on what I'm doing on the social medias. There's going to be a newsletter that will start going out in the next year, 2024. So that is one thing we can look forward to. Oh, let's see. The other thing is, how burlesque has been a catalyst in my life and how maybe listening to and watching this series has given you some inspiration to go out and do some different type of performance art, whatever that may be, or even just go to a burlesque show or a drag show. I bring up drag shows too because I do drag king, which that's a little bit of what I'm going with today with my ensemble. I always like to be a little bit, we know that I'm very what's the word I'm looking for? I choose what I'm gonna wear on the shows for a reason. So this is, a little bit of what I have this king hat because, drag king, that's haha. But also what's cool is I actually hiked King Mountain here in Oregon, and that apparently is like bragging rights because it's really hard hike, and it really was a hard hike. It's probably one of the hardest things I've done physically in my life. Um, and I've done a handful of things that I consider hard physically that, maybe not like just the typical average person has done or wants to do. So that is one of them. And that has inspired me to do more hiking and getting out more. Anyways, I am getting a little bit off topic with the King and the King Mountain, but it does all tie in together. So King, drag king, burlesque, going to shows, taking classes, reaching out to me, reaching out to anyone that is local to your community. That's always great. I did want to mention because, there's a lot of things going on out in society, like the strike that's going on in Hollywood with writers and actors and people not getting paid what they deserve, especially people on the lower levels. We see that in a lot of other types of industries, right? And this is really a point where people can decide to come together and make change happen. So that's what I feel like burlesque has done to me. It's given me a platform and a community and the ability to come together with a lot of other people that have very similar backgrounds to me, maybe not exactly similar, like exactly what I've been through, but some of us have had really hard traumas in our life, really hard family situations growing up, hard just adult lives too. There's people that I've interacted with who have come out of homelessness, who have I've come out of poverty from growing up. Like that's my background where, I didn't come from a lot of money at all. I grew up poor in a trailer park and, around a lot of uh, alcohol and drug abuse and all of the things, and so have a lot of people in the burlesque and drag community. So, and not everyone has, but, I think because people that are healing and have needed to give themselves something to, I mean, essentially like look forward to, and have commitments to, and have a community and have people around. So, with that, I challenge anyone that's watching or listening to even just go and watch a YouTube video and like it. I'm sure you will be entertained and enjoyed for the moments that you spend doing that. Um, let's see. Other things that burlesque has done for me, we've talked about, is it's burlesque and banking because this show is called Banking on Burlesque. And just to recap a little bit with that, I talk a lot about how burlesque has been a catalyst in my life and how without burlesque I wouldn't really have done a lot of the things I've done, especially in my spiritual and healing journey and moving through life the way that makes me feel good and brings me joy. And we all need something that is going to bring us joy And for the longest time, I didn't, working is working is working. Working a 9 to 5 job is working a 9 to 5 job. I talked about how burlesque got me out of the banking world. Uh, Not fully. I've, gotten back to it. And with a different perspective, though, banking has, if I wouldn't have been in banking, I wouldn't have found burlesque. So it's this like symbiotic balance that I have going on that I realized and that I came to appreciate years after, especially when I was struggling financially a little bit. We all had a rough time during the pandemic. I was having a little bit of a rough time a little bit before that, but money, finances, we kind of all are seeing where that's going. But we're going to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, I am going to go into some other ways that burlesque and banking have helped shift and change some things, and also may help you. So we will come back here, and thank you again. And welcome back. So we're done with that. And let's see. We were talking about burlesque and banking together, right? So the name of the show, we already have an understanding as to why we went that route. So like I was saying, if I wouldn't have had banking, I wouldn't have found burlesque, because through banking, I met the person that introduced me through burlesque. And having gone through the challenges that I had gone through the initial like 4-ish, 5 years in my banking career, had I not gone through some of that turmoil in my life, I wouldn't have really needed something like burlesque to be inspired about. I remember when I first got into the banking industry, I was actually really inspired by it. It gave me motivation because it gave me an opportunity to see that I didn't have to just go to college and get into exuberant amount of student loan debt so I could get a degree that I didn't know what I was going to do with. So when I got into the financial industry, I was hired as a part-time teller. I moved my way up, and I learned really quickly, really early on from my branch manager that, she never went to college, and her teller job was essentially her second job out, her first job out of high school, her second job just in her life, because she had, I think worked at the local Dairy Queen or something for the summer. And she moved her way up to branch manager, and, it was just, she was kind of living the life that was, the typical, like, not typical, but, like the American dream, so to say, like, or even like the strong, independent, like we talked about a few episodes, like, hey, Barbie, she was like the hey, Barbie to me because she's even blonde with the blue eyes. And anyway, I hope she ends up watching this episode eventually, or at some point. I'm going to just share this episode with her because, double rainbows and things, and we're just going to laugh about it. So, she was living the like, hey, Barbie lifestyle that I just wanted to also live as a strong, independent woman, that I did what I wanted. I can call myself a woman anyways. So that inspired me to really do well in my career and work as hard as I could, and learn as much as I could, and get the promotions as quickly as I could, so then I could make a good amount of money for not having any degrees. So that's what I did, and it worked out very well for quite a while, until we know that then there was just this point where was not feeling it, and it just so then yeah, burlesque came along, and but making with burlesque has given me some really great skills that I've been able to use and benefit from, especially sometimes, it's like, the good advice, but you don't always follow the good advice that that you're giving other people, right? Like, I'm sure there are many of you out there. And yes, I'm looking at you, whoever you are, that's just looking down and be like, oh, you just called me out. I have been giving really great advice on X, Y, or Z, and I'm an expert in this topic, but am I actually following what I know? Maybe not. For me, I wasn't for quite a while with a number of things. Sometimes I still see myself not doing the best that I know that I can do, even with the advice that I'm giving other people. Anyways, I started to follow my own advice over the last few years, especially the last 2 and 3 years, with what I learned in the financial industry when it came to owning and operating a business, which, being a burlesque and drag entertainer and traveling to perform, is a business. And in the beginning, not a lot of performers are wanting it to be a business or considering it as a business, or it's not even presented to them that it could possibly ever be a business. It's just like, oh great, and that's kind of what it was to me. Like, it was just like, oh great, this is what I do for fun. This is my hobby outside of work. This is what, I'm not here for the money. I make money at my day job. I'm here to just, do this casually or as a hobby. And there are a lot of people that are hobbyists, and that's okay. And there are a lot of people that do this as a career. There's people that use it as a supplemental income, various levels. That doesn't mean that that's going to make or break the type of performance you're going to get. I've seen so many different levels of people performing at different calibers in their career. There are people that come out of the gates just, they blow your mind. And yeah, I had the realization that I could be doing things differently that I know how to do. So last year for my birthday, I did them. And well, I did a few of them. Even prior to that, like, during the pandemic, I built myself a website. I actually built myself a website during the pandemic because my ex was needing a website for his tattoo shop, and he was going to pay this person, like, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of money. And I was like, no, 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 it's fine. I was like, I could do it. It's not that hard. And he's like, no, so to kind of prove him a little bit, like, I built my own website, and actually, I think I did a very good job for not knowing what I'm doing at all. Thankfully, like, Wix definitely is very user friendly. There's actually, on my social media, have a conversation going on about what platforms to use to house your website, because again, burlesque and performing is a business, and having a website gives you a presence outside of social media, especially when you're wanting to get different types of bookings. And really great plug in is, I think I've mentioned the Panama Burlesque Festival. I'm sure I have, because we know I love Panama. And I don't remember if I actually brought the news to here that I am now officially, that we've announced it, a part of the production team. I am one of the newest members of the production team, along with 2 other performers, and then the veteran performer that I love all of them dearly and admire all of them dearly. And I'm so excited. If you couldn't tell by the way I just like lit up, like, oh wait, yes. So the Panama Burlesque Festival is we're moving the dates from, we moved to March. So the dates will be in March. The applications close in 2 days. And oh, I was kind of thinking back on where I started as a person that was just running the merch table and had no idea what burlesque was, and to at a festival, and to now being able to have the opportunity to be on the production team of an international festival in one of the most beautiful, breathtaking places that I've ever been to. I would totally run away to Panama. So let's run away to Panama, or at least I will. If you want to help fund me to run away to Panama, I appreciate that. Just kidding. Not really, but maybe. Some other really great resources and abilities that, you don't always learn out in the real world is conflict resolution. And how many of you folks love to do conflict resolution? I hate it. Like, I'm sure no one likes to deal with anything that has to do with conflict. And that's a big thing that can happen, especially when there's a lot of really big personalities going on in one place. And so I don't know where I was going with that part of it. Probably where it gave me the ability to be able to advocate for myself. So, when you come from a lot of different types of backgrounds, and people have different traumas or different abilities physically, mentally, and you're all in a kind of really, like, I wouldn't say the burlesque community is small. I mean, it's vast, it's wide, it's global. And there's places like in Fairbanks, Alaska, that you wouldn't expect to find burlesque, but there's burlesque. And I'm sure there's some small towns and places that people may be very surprised to find that there is burlesque. But as wide and as vast as it is, the little clusters of communities where they're at are very small, I'd say, very like small town vibes, like you could easily get caught up into a lot of things, drama, conflict, all whatever. It was actually a really fun and great experience about that, like not on the negative side, where I was in a show in Eugene last week and met a performer that's new to Eugene, but she's been performing for probably over about a decade. And she made me really like giddy, because she called me a veteran performer, because I've been around for about 7 years, but I've been in the industry for 9. So yeah. But anyways, she was in Colorado, in Denver, around, and was leaving Denver to Chicago around the time that I just got involved in the community. And what's interesting about it is because Colorado and New Mexico burlesque community are pretty tight knit, and there's a lot of like, you interact with a lot of the same people, and we're like, she said, she's like, it's like, we was like talking to an old friend, that because we just knew a lot of the same people, and were able to just kind of connect on that, which was really great. And at the same show, I've been kind of having some life things going on, and I mentioned some of them on the internets. And one of the performers in there, she's a newer performer. I don't know their pronouns, but they approached me and had said that I was performing in one of the very first show that they ever saw, that really inspired them and made them want to do burlesque. And it was so like great to hear that. Yeah, and you do it and you perform, and sometimes you just don't know who's in the audience and who's paying attention to you and who you inspire. And sometimes you do and you never hear about it. And with that, I'm going to go on another break because I'm going to get a little teary-eyed talking about this stuff. Just, kind of, sort of. But yeah, we'll take another break and then we'll be back and then we will chat some more on some other things. Ready? So it was actually really great having that opportunity to hear someone's story on how they watched me perform and how I helped inspire their burlesque journey. And then we got to be in the same show together. That was so brilliant. And what was really cool too is the other performer that I was mentioning that as a veteran performer that, I didn't know, but it felt like we've known each other. One of the performers that we mutually know is one of the first performer I ever watched perform burlesque back when I was doing the merch table at the festival I worked at the very first time. So I thought that was all, like, oh, this is like a nice little circle of things that come till fruition. Especially, I was feeling a little bit. I have some really the heavy emotions because kind of like how I was saying about this show, some things like even burlesque shows and these shows, they have a way of, there's always a stopping point or an end, right? um I'm not stopping or ending anything with like burlesque, but I am taking a little bit of a mental health break. So I've talked about a little bit, how burlesque has helped my mental health and it's helped a lot of people's mental health. There's even a performer here locally in Portland who's starting their own class on burlesque and mental health. And so for the end of the year, I have my September is full. My October, I'm going to take some time away from the stage. Gonna go spend some time with some family back home in New Mexico and see my grandma. Love my grandma. Oh my gosh, she is a woman that is insane. I love her. I need to go spend time with her. So we're going to do that in October. And then November, I get to go to Glasgow Burlesque Festival. And that's what I will be doing for a week or so in November. We'll see what happens. You never know. A week may extend into 2 or more, who knows. So then, yeah, and then December we will be taking it easy, enjoying the holidays and all of the turkey, all of the food. So then in January, that is when you will get to see more of my lovely face. And it's going to be great. There's going to be some really amazing things happening burlesque wise. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a lot of the or helping in the back end on the Panama Burlesque Festival. That's going to be in March next year, 2024. And there's going to be some really great things I am will be exploring and traveling, and I may be in a city near you. So again, you are going to want to follow my social medias, which is most of them are at Lana_Montreese, and Facebook is the facebook.com, and it's Montreese.Lana because Facebook is Facebook. And we talked about my website. And so with that, like I said, I may come into a city near you, and that's going to be next year. But like I said, for this year, I'm just going to be taking it slow for the rest of the year, kind of going into a little bit of a hibernation like a bear. I'm still going to be working. I'm still going to be doing things. I'm still going to be creating some other stuff that I will be talking about here in a moment. Let's see. Whew, but I was so coming to the realization of all of this that I was gonna, need to take a little bit of a um especially since I'm super busy and booked, I've been super busy and booked pretty much this whole year. Um Feeling in my feelings, and you get in your feelings sometimes when things are coming, to a close, and having this person come to me and say, hey, like, you do great things and I see you, and it really re-inspired my heart. Also, that show was very cathartic. Oh my God. It was a punk show. It was called God Save the Pasty. And yes, it was all of the like teenage angst healing that I needed to have happen, and just see a bunch of, sparkly burlesque and drag humans perform to, punk music, and also relive their angsty childhood. Or some of them were really, really young, so they're very early childhood, they may not remember. But things still, teenage angst is a thing, and sometimes that has to be healed in different ways for everybody. And apparently for me, it was having this amazing punk show where I also got to perform two acts to some amazing songs that I used to like from, again, back in my teenage angsty times. And ooh, more of how mental health ties into burlesque, right? Just not knowing that I needed to heal that part of my soul where my teenage self just didn't get as much, like care and attention that they needed. And so being able to do that in a different way through movement and through art. We love art. Burlesque isn't the only type of art. There is like the performance part of it. I feel like there's a lot of other things that go on in the background that also is art, that is just, it's seen, but it's not seen or talked about really. And a big one is the costuming. There are some performers out there that can costume like no other. And I like to pay those performers money because I can get basic costuming done and make things look all right, but I don't like to just do that. I like to have things that are gonna be able to be, reused again for different acts or for the same act again. And but hey, to each their own. There are people that could literally throw things together in like a night and it looks amazing. There are other people that can sew and can rhinestone and can make all the sparkly bits. Just that in and of itself is an art form, and does not get enough recognition. I mean, obviously it gets the recognition when it's on stage and it's being admired on the amazing performer in front of you, and then you get to watch them as they, artfully remove these beautiful articles of clothing through their act. But the way that they're designed and they're made, and even the thought process that has to go into making an entire act, right? Like you get to see the final product just on the stage, but there's so many different avenues that go into it. And oh, great. So with all of that, it's just, I mean, kind of just come to the conclusion, like not come to the conclusion, but like a little bit of like no wonder why it's a bit of a really healing art form. Because it doesn't just focus on one piece of art. It allows you to work with a bunch of different areas of your brain and have them meet in a place of presenting to other people and allowing them to take that in, and perceive it in their own notion on where they're at and where they're coming from. And it's a meeting of souls that it's hard to explain unless you've experienced it. Yeah, so another great little story that I want to share that happened to me recently is I got to see, actually, I think I might have mentioned this, but maybe I didn't. I don't remember. Oh, I'm going to say it again, even if I did. So there is a performer that I got to see. I got to just go and watch a show. And sometimes that doesn't always happen very often for me. It depends on the season and the year. I love actually to go out and watch shows during the winter months just because it's cold and rainy here in Portland, and the venues aren't as hot. And yeah, I think y'all understand where I'm coming from. So, but I got to go out and watch a show, and I was a friends plus one, and just so happened one of the performers she's not a burlesque legend yet. She is, though, like an icon, I'd say, in burlesque. She is very known, and she actually is part of the reason, like, she's one of the founding members of Burlesque down in LA and Hollywood, and she's done some really great and amazing things. And her and a couple of other performers were doing I think they were doing a nationwide tour, or a lot of place tour across the country, and they were here in Portland, and I got to watch them perform. And the specific performer, though, she was on the stage or at the festival that I was working the merch table, and she was one of the headliners of that festival that I watched and was mind blown at her act. And I got to meet her backstage, and it was just amazing. And it was so wonderful being able to meet her and get a signed photo from her and joke with her. And she actually even remembered me, and that was so like sweet. And it like touched my heart. And I got a little special note on the back of my signed photo that's separate from just the to Lana from Kitten on the front of the photo. Always love little special notes. I'm not going to say what it is because some of the words might not be appropriate to say on I mean, I'm probably fine saying it, but I'm just not going to say it because things. Ooh. So there's been a lot of things that I've been experiencing lately that are just like full circles of burlesque that have also been like little pieces that have re-inspired me and given me some motivation to, even though I may be slowing down for the winter to go into hibernation, that when I do, make my grand re-entrance in the new year, it's going to be fantastic. And I can't wait. So we're going to take the last break here. Yes, we are. And I had to think about that for a minute. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page, all of us. But yes, we're going to take our last break here. And when we come back, then I get to share. I'm just going to share more. I'm going to share more things, right? No, I'm kidding, but I am gonna words, right? I'm gonna share some words. I'm gonna share some words I wrote, and I'm gonna talk about some things that I'm gonna do while we are on hibernation mode. Okay, so be right back. Thank you. welcome back. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to be sharing with y'all some things that I will be doing while I'm in hibernation mode. And because I'm going to be resting, but I'm not actually going to be fully resting. I'm still going to be doing things like back end stuff, um, sprucing and freshening up my website, giving y'all some more information on the website specifically, sprucing up the merch that I have available, getting some different types of photos available for autograph sale. There will be an option for the newsletter. There will be a newsletter going in. I'm going to be having a newsletter. Feel like a grown-up burlesque performer saying that I'm going to have a newsletter. I want to start a newsletter because it's hard right now with the social medias and the things that the other people that the billionaires control out there. And there's a lot of targeted advertising and all of the things. So again, like having a website, having your own email, and being able to run things as a business helps elevate the ability to get other people out. Anyways, I don't need to explain. So I am going to be sprucing up the website. I will be adding some blogs in there. I'm going to be writing. I actually write. I guess I could call myself a writer. And it's weird saying that. Because I don't know, I just don't really, even though I have things done that I'm going to share in just a moment, I don't still feel like, anyways, imposter syndrome is real. Burlesque has really helped me with imposter syndrome, but I still have it because I'm obviously still having it now. And I still have it now too with like these shows. Because it's something new and it's something foreign that I have not done before, and it's different than burlesque. I'm kind of bearing my soul while I sit here in front of y'all. Anyways, so me as a writer, in high school, I used to not like English or writing. I was a math and science person, specifically math and sciences that involved math. And that was my jam. But when I got into college, I didn't, it's one of those things where you take the classes that you need, and there are ways that, depending on what you're majoring in, if you need certain classes or not, and if you can test out of them or take them in high school, whatever, blah. Math was one of those things that I just got out of the way right at the beginning of my college career because I was so good at math. I was doing college math in my junior year of high school, junior year of high school, I was doing college level math. And so my senior year of high school, I was able to not, finish the college level math that I would need for the degrees that I was looking at essentially. So psychology is the degree I have. And yeah, there's minimal math that you really need in that field. So I finished the math. I'm going very deep into the weeds with the math. And like English was whatever. I got good grades in English, but it wasn't what I liked or what I thought I was good at until there was this class that I took. Because I thought I was so bad at English and writing, I didn't need to, but I took an extra class while I was in my senior year of high school, which was it was a college level class. It was a prerequisite technically for the English 101, whatever that course is. And like I said, technically I didn't need it, but I thought that I would just better prepare myself because I heard that English 101 was really hard and that wasn't my strong place. So yeah, thanks. I was that type of student. So I took this class, and one of the assignments we were to write this story about I guess like a sport or no, like an outdoors something that we liked, like fishing or I don't know, whatever. at this point in my life, I didn't really like doing outdoors things. Like I didn't like hiking, I didn't like camping, I didn't like any of these things that all these other people liked. And oh, we were supposed to tell a story of like something like that we yeah, I don't know. So I went with the reason why I very strongly dislike fishing. And I gave this story about this one time that we went fishing, the very first and only, well, actually, no, I've been fishing twice, like where the actual goal with the people I was going to was fishing. So we went fishing and anyways, both of these two times they ended terribly. So anyway, long story long. During this class, I wrote the story about these two stories and why I dislike fishing. I got a really great grade on it, and I was very surprised. And the feedback that I got, I was also very surprised. And really, the only thing that was, I had marks on were for some potential, like, minor, maybe like a grammar error here or there. But yeah, so that was my first little glimpse that I can look back to that I was like, oh, well, I do write very well. I appreciate the way that other people appreciate the way that I write. Um, I may not think it's amazing, but hey, if someone else reads it and they think it's great and it vibes and I can get my point across and it doesn't like, yeah, I have interacted with people that are not the best type of writers, and it's okay. Sometimes writing and communicating in that sense isn't everyone's forte, and that's all right. I'm kind of leading into the fact that it's mine. And other places that it's shown up in my life is a lot of it has been academically, where I do surprise myself sometimes with some of the assignments that I've turned in where I ultimately ended up getting a lot higher grade than I expected. Mostly because we are our own worst critic, and I'm definitely my own worst critic when it comes to assignments and things like that. So uh when I built my website initially back in 2020, there was a part of it where I did add a blog. And I was very proud of I think the three little blog articles that I started the website out with. One of them got some really great, like a lot of views and a lot of likes. And so, that like boosted my self-esteem in, how I write and uh, giving a message out on, things that I feel are important to, that I just want to get out there into the universe that may help someone else, just like this message on these shows. Saying my story and being vulnerable here, just like being vulnerable and sharing a piece of my soul on the stage. Being vulnerable in writing. And one thing that I did is I did a little bit of a story in this book right here. Win the Wellness War. We are responsible for all things wellness. With Coach Peggy, you may have heard of or seen Coach Peggy on here. Lovely, beautiful, amazing human. And you can see me also on the internet doing a little mini interview, sort of interview with her, where I actually read a little insert of the story I shared in her book. I am in here. Look, that's me. So yeah. And I wrote this. And there's I don't know, like 3 whole pages in a book that I wrote that it's published and it's available on Amazon. It's actually on the bestsellers list on Amazon too, mind you. Also, there may or may not be one of these available on my website coming up where you may be able to buy one and it may be signed for you. by me. So yeah, like I said, stay tuned, keep up with me, and keep up with the Transformation Talk Network, because we will be coming back next year. We will. Just keep an eye out. And there will also be ways to help support, and going to be doing some crowdfunding. So please keep an eye out for that too. Because things in this world need support, and financial support is one of them. So thank you so much. This has been really great, and I'm so excited to see what we come to next year. And have a great rest of your year, a great rest of your summer and fall and winter. We'll see you later. Bye. You have been listening to Banking on Burlesque, the propelling point of change, with me, Lana Montreese. Tune in every fourth Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. Like I did, you will discover that healing starts within, and I would love to help you navigate into a world of sparkle, wonder, and a lifetime of magical change, and become empowered and heal from trauma through burlesque with me. Visit lanamontreese.com. That's lanamontreese.com.